became, it's turned into a conversation I thought we should have together. And I thought we should start this conversation. Before we get into the time, frequency, intensity of care here, you'll learn that tonight's class can apply to anything. And my grandpa told me that I went to church with him on Saturday. He said that a good sermon is one that touches every single person in the church, right? I said, yeah, of course. And nobody touches nobody the same way. Everyone, it impacts them and wherever they're at in their life. So, you want to sit down?
No, I understand it.
He likes this thing. So this can be that for you. This can affect you in many ways, and it can stand for lots of different aspects of your life that most of us in this room have no idea about. But it struck me as I was thinking about time, frequency, intensity, that there's something really important that I think we should just let out and have a conversation of, and that is non-negotiables. So everybody has things in their life that they would maybe say is a non-negotiable. So if anyone's open to sharing a non-negotiable in their life, maybe it'll help open the conversation up for everyone else. Does anybody have something in their life that it is just...
I'm with her. Everybody brush your teeth, you know?
Okay, cool. I was like, wait a minute. I'm with her too.
It's like, nah.
I thought you were talking about your wife, actually. I'm with her. We're together.
Yeah.
That probably too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So this morning, I asked my team, I said, what's a non-negotiable? And everyone kind of struggled with it a little bit. And Allie, this is what I was using all day as an example. I said, Allie said that brushing her teeth is non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
She will not have it where she goes throughout a day and doesn't brush her teeth. And I said, okay. I said, so what would you do? And I'm kind of calling her out right now, but she's here and we had this conversation. I said, what would you do if you showed up for work one day here at the office and you had not been able to brush your teeth for whatever reason? You showed up and you couldn't brush your teeth. I said, what would you do? And what'd she say?
Probably chew some gum.
She said, exactly. I would probably chew some gum. I said, so is it non-negotiable? She was like, turned beet red. And she's like, I guess not.
Yeah.
Because I said, if it was a non-negotiable, what would she do?
She'd brush her teeth, or she'd have a toothbrush here.
And what if she didn't have a toothbrush here? Where would she might find one?
Go to the store.
She'd be like, Dr. Andrew, I gotta tell you, I gotta run over to Lovejoy's and buy a 99-cent toothbrush because I know there's toothpaste in your bathroom back here, and I'm gonna have to brush my teeth. I said, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it was a non-negotiable, then that's what you do. I said, or if there wasn't Lovejoy's, you might sneak into my bathroom and use my toothbrush.
Oh, God.
No.
She might.
No.
If it's non-negotiable,
non-negotiable,
her teeth would feel a lot better. If she wasn't a germaphobe,
I go
it
for
would
the
get the job
gum.
done.
I go for the gum.
A little peroxide would take care of it.
I'm just saying. So maybe it's
You might
not.
put peroxide in your bathroom then, too.
Yeah.
Right? So as we dug, and this was by design, I was digging because I wanted to really understand and learn if this was a non-negotiable. And just for the exercise of the drill. Because I get built up knowing that we get to have these conversations, and there might never be another healthcare clinic in town where you actually have a conversation about non-negotiable health. And I know that because I see lots of my patients tell me that they want one thing for themselves and their family, and something will come up and they'll do a 180.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying if we identify our non-negotiables, then we have a rock to stand upon and we will not falter. And if we share that with the people that we love the most, we can have that support, which is why it's great when your spouse is here. And it's great to have these conversations. Does anybody want to share, now, and I won't drill you like I drilled Allie, but does anybody want to share a non-negotiable that they say, no, I stand for this and I'll die for it?
I would say just like raising my children and putting them as a high priority over basically
In that order. Right.
would be like, but like you said, it's like some days I'll be like, oh my gosh, I just like worked all day and I wasn't intentional with them, or so like it's good to have those, because then you're like, okay, wait, that wasn't like, this day wasn't lived according to like my priorities or whatever. So yeah, just not basically neglecting them or being like, these things are more important than you, but being intentional with
That you identified that hierarchy.
Yeah, and you have to be intentional, every day about those things, because it's easy to just have the day go by and be like, that wasn't, or
and
weeks or months.
That's really awesome that you have that. And I had a hierarchy like that, and I realized, because my wife brought it up to me, she said, well, where are you at? And I was like, oh no. So I put God, creation, or that component first, and then I put my spouse, my wife, and then I put my child, and then I put my career. She's like, well, where are you? And I'm like, oh dang. So I can't take care of her if I don't take care of myself first. So I must, and I didn't realize it until she dug and pried at me like I did with Allie, that you can't take care of me if you don't take care of yourself first. So you need to be somewhere in there too. And I was like, whoa, right, honey?
So do you put yourself at the top then, and then God? Seriously.
No.
I think I would put myself first, because if I don't take care of myself, I don't even have a way of dealing with.
And that might be unique. That might be your order. I'm just saying. It's
and
interesting.
then my husband, and then my children.
It's interesting to have that conversation with yourself, because most people won't.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why we get to have these deep conversations together. So I'm gonna, to keep this conversation moving, I want to share with you my 2 non-negotiables, and I wish there were more. I told Cindy and Allie and Dee, I said, I wish eating organic food was non-negotiable for me, but it's not, and I admit that, because it happened over the weekend. I wish I had the conviction to say, no, I won't eat that because that's not healthy for me. But
It's
I'm
a
human.
little difficult, isn't it?
And it's a little difficult in this environment, and without eating out at restaurants and having family in town. So the truth is, it is something that I believe and stand for. It's not a non-negotiable. I'll have a meal that I don't know where it came from. It's true, I will. And I know people who won't. They'll be like, nope. I have a backpack full of food. I take it everywhere with me. It's always with me. It's in my car. It's in my hotel. I will not stand for that, and I will need that. I will not put that in my body. I'd rather die. Okay? So there's 2 non-negotiables that I actually have that I will die for. And my wife knows what they are. And number 1, it is, I will get adjusted until I die. There's no possible way that I'm not going to get adjusted, because my top priority in my life for my health is my nervous system. And my brain and my spinal cord are my lifeline to God, and I will not stand for not being adjusted. And I got so lucky and wanted that so badly that I married a chiropractor. And I'm greedy, so I did it for me. I want to have it. I will not have that. I will not go, I might go a week sometimes if I'm out and I'm not with my wife, but 10 days, I'm turning into a monster. I won't have it. I'll go out and get adjusted by someone. Okay? And number 2, my child won't be vaccinated. She will not have a needle put in her arm. I will die before you do that. So I have that conviction, because I know what I know because of the research that I've done, that it ain't happening. If someone forces me, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm gone. I won't have it. Okay? So those are my 2 non-negotiables. Everything else I can bend a little bit. And I think it's important to identify those things. So when we don't have non-negotiables in our life for our health, we have what I believe, this is, I kind of came up with this, is a rescue reflex. Where we go, it's kind of like that if it hits the shan moment, where you fall into this moment where you just have this knee-jerk reaction because you're not 100% sure what you stand for. And someone will look at you and pressure you into doing something that might not be what you really wanted for yourself. I just know it to be true. I've seen it. In my 10 years of practicing, I've seen it. So I encourage everyone to have your non-negotiables in place so that when you have a rescue reflex, it's a safe rescue reflex. Okay? I'm trying to think who shared this with me. One of my patients had a rescue reflex that went against what she believed. It's no one in this room, but she had a rescue reflex for her kids that went against what she believed and wanted. And I said, well, you know what? It didn't turn out the way that you wanted, but let's just pray and know that it'll be okay. And let's do a couple of these things because of that. And let's just have a stronger conviction next time. That's it. You know? So that's what kind of provoked this conversation. I'm trained to educate people. And I say I'm trained because I'm in training every day to educate people on how to protect their nervous system from the day they're born until the day that they die. I keep it really simple. And I say it with 100% conviction because I know that nobody else is going to do it. There's a couple people, you know, that are there that I have these conversations with. I say we have to teach these people because nobody else is going to do it. And everyone on the other side of the spectrum is going to push these things on you more. And it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. This is the model. It is not going anywhere for a very long time. The reality is that you and I are waking up more to the reality of this is what we want and this is why we choose to want it because of these things, and I have the freedom to choose my health. And that's a very powerful thing that we might not have if we let it go. Freedom to choose healthcare in this country. This is America. We can choose what we want to do. And you don't have to have any other reason for choosing what you do aside from the fact that because I want that. And we have to stand for that principle more than anything else. We have to fight for our right to choose what we can do to our own bodies and our children's bodies. Amen? It's not even necessary. It's essential for humanity and mankind. Okay? I've said this about, Donald Trump, our president. I don't care if you love him or hate him. He's the first president who acknowledged that there is a generation of poisoning going on right now with our children. And he identified that because he has a son that's on the autistic spectrum. And he has a mind, and he looked at it and he said, hey, is there potentially some reason why my child has autism? And he got led to this whole conversation of vaccines. I don't care whether you love him or hate him, right? I love him sometimes, I hate him other times. But the reality is, in the world of healthcare, he was convicted and he stood strong and said, I'm not okay with that. Because by 2032, half of our kids are going to have autism. Who's going to lead this country? Against other countries where they're saying, oh, we're actually winning this war on autism. Who's gonna run this country? Right? What men and women are going to be left to stand up and protect this country? I want to use an analogy, and it's a check engine light. Okay? If your check engine light goes on, and you're like me, you have no idea why it's on. But you know something's what? Wrong. Could it be really bad?
Mm-hmm.
Possible.
Could you have maybe less than a mile before your car stops working?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I blew a radiator hose, check engine light came on, and I just drifted to a stop. That fast. It was like, boom. Could you have a check engine light on and run that car for years?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends what it is.
Exactly. You could have an O2 sensor out, and you could just be starving the oxygen to the engine, and the car still runs. It just runs like poop, and it gets 10 miles to a gallon instead of 20. You could. I've done that too. When I was a kid, I had this big Chevy truck, and the check engine light was always on because there was an O2 sensor out, and I knew it. I had it. The check engine light was on the day I bought it. It was on the day I sold it. Same O2 sensor. Because I didn't even, it wasn't a priority to me. I just said, it's not going to kill the truck, and it didn't when I had it, but it definitely did to the next guy, I'm sure. My point is, are you willing to pay the price for a check engine light that's on? if it could be something that ends today or something that is strung out and eventually catches up. Are you willing to pay the price? If you're, you don't have to say anything. If you're thinking to yourself, no, good. If you're thinking to yourself, take that risk, then just know you're taking that risk. If I'm on a road trip and my check engine light comes on and I still got 2,000 miles to drive with my wife and my kid, I'm not taking the risk. I'm going to just cruise into a town and get checked. Make a decision, right? Here's the challenge with health, is that you don't always get a check engine light on. Or you do, and you're covering it up, or you do, and you're not detecting it. It's kind of muffled, it's ignored. Exact same principle, whether it's in your car or in your bike. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to, are you willing to ignore it? Some people are like, hell no. Some people are like, I can deal with a little low back pain. And I say, okay, that's your check engine light. And your check engine light, we pull the diagnostic plug on it, we'll see where that cord goes. And that cord goes out to your abdomen, appendix, bladder, muscles of the leg, and your prostate. Just know that that's your risk. If you're willing to live with that risk, cool. If you're not, I'm your guy. It's that simple. And not everyone will choose it, and a lot of people will. Okay? And now when you get in your car or your friend's car, you're going to look, and if their check engine light's on, you're going to know they're running the risk. Make sense?
I panic when it goes on.
I do too.
I want to know why.
I'm getting old, I'm weak.
I got a code reader.
What's that?
I said I have a code reader.
Good. I'm your code reader. Have a good code reader for your health.
Yeah.
That's it. I love that analogy. Get a code reader. Pull the plug. You know? That's the term, right? Pull the plug. Plug it in. See what the code, or pull the code.
Yeah.
Pull the code, yeah. The good thing with chiropractic is we don't have emergencies. Okay? As much as we think that, oh, this is a chiropractic emergency, I don't know anyone who's died from a sore low back in an emergency state. I've known a lot of people who look like they're dying when they have a sore back. But the reality is they'll be here tomorrow. I'm relating this in terms of medicine, where if your heart stops beating, it's an emergency, and you need to go to the hospital now, or you might not make it tomorrow. In chiropractic, we don't have emergencies like that. We have warning signs that come on and flash, and if you're not willing to live with the outcome, you do something about it. You get my drift?
Sure.
You feel this? How this conversation is different? And when you put a wellness model into a crisis intervention emergency model, it will fail every time. If you take the wellness model out of the emergency crisis intervention and you leave it into a wellness maintenance model, it will win every single time. If you take a carpenter who does fine carpentry work and you ask him to build your house will stink. They don't do that. They don't understand the structural layout and the architectural design of the house and the weight-bearing loads that the architects have designed. It will not be good. It might look really great, but it will not stand the test of time. If you're having a heart attack, do not come to me because I'm not your guy. But if you have a warning sign that has come on and it's been ignored for a period of time and you want to get to the cause of that, I'm your guy. See the difference? And it was really hard for me to accept that because when someone is in a lot of pain, I can help them. I can help them if they're in a lot of pain. And that might seem like an emergency, but in health, it's really not. It's just saying, my light is shining brighter now, and oh my goodness, I need some attention fast. But I'm going to make it till tomorrow. See that? See how we broke that down? If I design a care plan for you, and I say, the truth is, based upon what we've found, your body has been breaking down for 2 to 3 decades. You have arthritis in several levels of your spine. Your warning signals have been going off for years. You may have been ignoring them, but the reality is you're not because you're here today. You may have been ignoring them for decades. You have multiple levels of deterioration and degeneration. You've been spending your whole life breaking down. If I tell you the truth, and I tell you that, which most people won't, and I say, it's going to take time to start to unwind this process. And it's going to take a long time. And I typically, for someone like that, will say it's going to take at least a year to start unwinding a degenerative process that you've been living with for decades. Can everyone get on board with, if I've been living with something for 2 to 3 decades, that I should maybe consider at least dedicating a year to unwinding this? Am I crazy? No, because anything else in your life you would agree upon, except nobody's taught you. If your teeth are crooked, you are going to spend years straightening them out. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
If your spine is compressing your nervous system, you may spend years unwinding that process. And if I tell you it's going to take a year, the truth still is yet that it's going to take you the rest of your life. It will take you the rest of your life to care for your spine. Just like Allie will brush her teeth for the rest of her life because she cares so badly about her teeth. And I'm with her. And half of mine are fake. They're fake. And I still love them. Okay? You will spend the rest of your life caring for your nervous system. And I have evolved to the point in my life and career where when someone asks me, Dr. Andrew, I've heard great things about you in the community. Are you the type of chiropractor that's going to make me come and get adjusted for the rest of my life? I look you in the eye and I say, I will not make you do anything you don't want to do or believe in, but I will tell you that if you choose to get adjusted for the rest of your life, you will be healthier. You get to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Because any dentist with any brain in their skull would tell you, Nancy, you have to brush your teeth for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And anyone who understands nutrition would say, Sandy, you have to eat healthy for the rest of your life. And anyone who understands exercise would tell you, you have to and exercise every day for the rest of your life. You must. It's critical for your well-being. Okay? When I give a care plan for someone and they start to tweak it a little bit for their own benefit for time, is that person going to get what they signed up for? And are they going to get the results that they really deeply want for themselves when I met them?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen. And I'm telling you this because this is true. Where I love all my patients. I love the ones that don't choose my care plans. But I'll tell you, the ones that do and stick to it are healthier. Every single time, every single one of them. Because isn't the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result? Because when I tell someone, you're going to spend the rest of your life working on this, but first you're going to start with 6 months of intensity, where I'm going to be seeing you an awful lot in the first 6 months. And then you might hope to graduate to less frequency because you put the hard work in and you reverse some of those negative patterns. And 3 months will go by and then I won't see them for 3-4 more months. And I will tell them with conviction, because I know this and this is my non-negotiable. If you choose to not continue to get adjusted, you will fall back into your old pattern and you will have that degenerative process stay with you. Not to scare you, it's the truth.
So is this, sorry to interrupt, but is this is chiropractic, is it from like ancient times? Like, has it always been around? Or
We have seen manipulation occur in cave drawings thousands of years old,
Okay.
where, even in the Eastern countries where someone would be walking on the spine or someone would be, pressing on vertebra.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a new form of healing. This has been practiced for thousands of years, all over the world, actually. The difference is that in the late 1800s, when chiropractic was developed as a profession, Dr. D.D. Palmer combined science and anatomy with it, and he developed an approach for specialized adjustments of the spine with direct lines of drive with specific intent to remove nerve interference. And then it became, that's the birth of chiropractic. The word chiropractic means done by hand. So healing done by hand is what chiropractic means. It's a great question. Time. There's no process in life that doesn't take time. It takes time to fall in love, fall out of love, gain weight, lose weight, get strong, get weak. It takes time to get an education. How long does it take to get a bachelor's degree? Who knows the answer to this?
4 years.
Everyone in this room said about
However
4
long it
years.
takes.
Right? How long does it take to get a high school degree?
12 years. Or
Well,
4.
it was 3, now it's 4, yes.
Well, 12 years.
12 years, really. Yeah.
Right? So we know, we have these times in our brain. They've been put into our brain, not by us, but by someone else.
Mhm.
Okay? Your whole life is governed by time. It's the one thing you can never get more of. It's the most valuable commodity in this life realm, this dimension that we're in, this time. You might transcend to a different dimension, and then there's other things out there. However, right now, time is critical. And if we are going to commit to something with conviction, it's going to take time. It might take 3 months, I might tell you. It might take 6 months. It might take 18 months. But the truth is you're going to spend the rest of your life doing it. I care so much about you, I'll tell you the truth. Yes?
Yeah.
If someone who you had confidence in, faith in, you believed what they said, everything they said resonated well with you, and you thought to yourself, yes, this is an answer to something I've been looking for, why would you not commit to it? Anything in life.
You do.
You do.
You just commit to things.
Yep. And sometimes people say, Nancy, why did you do that? And you said, I knew that it was the right thing to do because I believed in it. It was congruent with me. I did it.
Of course, I can also say, I have no idea.
Non-negotiables. So I bring that up because I want you to understand the love, the serve, and the value that's built into your care plan. And I want to encourage you to stick with it because we're not doing anything that is going to hurt you or lead you astray in the wrong direction that could cause anything other than greatness for your future. Frequency. When you're committed to something and you want to get really good at it, how often do you do it?
As often as you can.
As often as you can.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm trying to get through something in this book, I'm going to read this book as fast as I can. If I'm into it. You know? If I want to be the best double haul fly caster in town, I'm going to go out in my yard and practice every night. Because that's what I want. It's not what I want, but I like to have a nice cast. If I'm going to become the strongest person in Bend and win my heat in my division for my CrossFit competition, I am not going to miss a workout. Because if I miss a workout, I'm jeopardizing the outcome for what I really want for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And an Olympic athlete will not miss a workout. An Olympic athlete that misses a workout can get set back up to 10 days. I read this in a book, a physiology book. 10 days. You miss one workout, think about going back 10 days. Who's going to jeopardize? Michael Phelps going to jeopardize that when he's going for 6 golds? Absolutely not. Non-negotiable. I will not miss it. I will not miss a workout. Frequency is critical and key, and it is for me with my adjustments. I won't miss an adjustment because I know if I miss an adjustment, I'm going to be set back, and I have conviction that I want something for myself and my family, and I won't fault. I go that course, and I will not miss it for any expense. Intensity. I'm kind of crazy, and I just tell people that. And some of you know that. But when I'm into something, I'm into something. Right? I made a decision I was going to eat ketogenic because I needed to see what my body felt like when it was not running on sugar. I absolutely needed to experience that for myself because I never had. Over 30 years, never had experience. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going ketogenic, and I was not willing to jeopardize one thing that went into my mouth because I needed to feel what it felt like to not be on sugar. And it was a crazy journey. And not everyone's like that. I get it. But everyone's some variation of that. And there's other things where I'm like, I am all in. I'm going to the gym tomorrow, and I'm going to do these workouts and these sets for this amount of time, and I hit snooze 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
But I wake up and I don't eat sugar, and I get right back on my diet. Because that's the rock that I decided to stand on. And me going to the gym every single day since I had my baby is not. I don't know, it just feels kind of good to spend a half hour with my baby in the morning. And I'm not saying every morning, but that's my breaking point. Okay? If she's up before I go to the gym, I'm screwed. If I'm up before she's up, I might get there. And if not, I go into my home office and I do my exercises, I do my cat cows, I do my neck exercise and do some stretching. And I'm like, cool, let's go. All right? Intensity is a critical component for your health. And being true to the reality that if you put your health as your top priority for yourself and your family, then be intense with it and go all the way. And I get saddened when people come to me and they say, Doc, I've been to all your classes. I've been listening to you for 4 years, every Tuesday. I've been to all your cancer classes. I've been to your Raising Healthy Families. And I know that I should have done this and I didn't. And I say, it's okay because you're human. It's okay, you're human. Right? We all have challenges. Next time, have more conviction with it. So, everyone's homework, and if you want to share it with me, great, email it to me or text me. All my cell phone number, you can text it to me. I'll respond if you email or text me. Send me your non-negotiables for your health, for your family. And it doesn't have to be mine. I just wanted you to understand where I come from. And when you make those non-negotiables for yourself and for your family, tell the people that you're closest to, because there might come a time someday where you can't make the decision because you might physically or mentally not be able. And someone might have to make it for you. And they won't be able to make that decision for you unless they know what your non-negotiables are.
You think I'm going to tell that to Carol?
Tell Ron.
Oh, jeez.
Tell Ron.
Or Ron? No. Mm-mm.
Tell Henry.
Yeah.
All right, tell me. You can tell me. All right, everyone. Good class. This is deep. This is a deep conversation that could go on for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's riveting thing.
Riveting.
Mm-hmm.
Another riveting health class.
Now, how do I make my non-negotiable